to call to order the City of Leawood Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for May 24th, 2023. Could we have roll call, please?
Members Munson, Dunn.
Here.
Dr. Pepys, Clausen.
Here.
Hawk. Here. Farrington, Bussing.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. The first order of business is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any?
Move to approve the minutes. Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. The minutes are approved as written. Every year we have to adopt we have to vote to adopt the bylaws for the BZA. And these are unchanged from previous years. Is there a motion?
Move to, go ahead, Pat.
Move to adopt the bylaws as proposed.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the bylaws for the Leawood Board of Zoning Appeals and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. And I will sign my copy. And Wade, you can sign the other. Okay, very good. We had one case of old business, but that case has been withdrawn. So we will move on to new business. We have a long agenda tonight, so I would ask the applicants to limit their remarks to 5 minutes. And could council be the official timekeeper? Yes. Thank you. So we'll start with case new business. Case 26-2023. Jamison R. Birdnow, owner. This is a request for a fence height exception in accordance with LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 9537 Meadow Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicant would like to enclose the rear yard with a 6-foot-tall wooden privacy fence.
Are there questions for staff by the board? If not, is the applicant here?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure.
You may come to the lectern and give us your name and address, and you may present your case.
Sure, yeah. Listen, before I do, I want to acknowledge just one thing real quickly. I just want to tell you how effective this man is. So Wade, thank you so much for helping us navigate the process. You've been expedient and fantastic, so thank you very much. My name is Jamie Birdnow, the Birdnow family here, and 9537 in Meadow Lane is where we live. We love it. It's a fantastic neighborhood. Thanks for all the good work that you do. But we are here asking for an exception to the fence height rule, and I'll just give you 2 primary reasons why we'd like to do that. So our backyard, again, fantastic place, but given where it's situated, when night falls, we get the lights off Lee Boulevard as the cars come around there, turning onto Lee Boulevard, sort of driving down Lee Boulevard, and then fantastic neighbors sort of to the east of us, beautiful people, but their cars park there as well. And it just shines into the backyard, which ordinarily isn't an issue, but we have a back wall of windows, which looks right into our den and right into our kitchen, which is the primary living space of the house. And so, unfortunately, we get lights during movie time and lights during dinner time and lights just randomly as it goes. And so, we also are intending to make a pretty sizable investment in the backyard, trying to make it a little more functional and indoor-outdoor space, as it were. So what we'd like to try to do, and I think what's unique about our yard is that it sort of slants down from Lee Boulevard, if you will. So I think that if we could get a fence that's a little bit higher back there, it would block the majority of those lights coming in and would just make for a more usable, livable backyard, if you will. So that's that's one of the primary reasons. The second one is we have a new addition to our family. It's a vivacious 3-month-old golden retriever who has already scaled the fence that's there now, which is a 4-foot fence. There are a couple of cats that belong to our neighbors that sort of roam the neighborhood, excite the dog. We picked the dog up on the other side, the east side of Lee Boulevard, and caught her just before she got to 95th Street, which is about 3 houses down. And so those are the primary reasons why we're here today, asking for a bit of an exception to the high fence rule.
So you have a fence, you have a fence there now?
Yes, sir. The former owners actually had a fence in, and so there's a 4-foot cedar fence along most of the backyard. It was blown down with the tornado winds,
Oh,
things
yeah.
that we
Oh,
had
yeah.
previously.
Yeah.
And then the remainder of the yard is a chain link fence, which is not, in my opinion, very attractive, frankly. And so
Okay.
we'd like to sort of get rid of those, and then all at once, just sort of make the adjustment to the fence.
Okay.
This
Are
is a
there-
wood fence, correct?
I'm sorry?
A wood fence you're proposing?
Oh, wood fence, yes, sir. Wooden fence, yes.
Okay.
Much like the style that we have now, just a little bit taller.
Okay.
Wade, do you have a picture of this, where it will be located?
If I can get the IT department to put that up.
Okay, thank you.
It's marked in blue, and then here's an aerial picture.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Okay. Okay, very good.
And the fence that's there currently it does have a permit that was issued by us in 1992.
Okay, all right. Are there any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
You?
Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case 26-2023-9537 Meadow Lane, request for a fence height exception in accordance with the LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R-1 district for property commonly known as 9537 Meadow Lane.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 26-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. The next case this evening is case 27-2023, Trevor and Ashley Hobbs, owner. This is a request for an exception to the maximum allowable square footage on a lot in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3F2 in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 12649 Overbrook Road. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicants are wanting to remodel slash update the existing home for their growing family. The property owners would like to add 263 square feet or 7.8% to the home. Therefore, an exception is needed.
Okay.
Just for clarity, Wade, all of this would be within the requirements for setbacks and so forth, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Are there questions for staff? Is this going to be partially below grade, looks like?
No, it'll be above grade.
Okay, all right. Is the, any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? You may come and present your case.
Thank you so much. I'm Ashley. As you can see, we're expanding our family.
So you're Ashley. You need to
Yes.
give us your full name and address, please.
Oh, Ashley Hobbs, address 12649 Overbrook Road,
Okay.
Leawood, Kansas 66209.
Okay.
And what is your daughter's name?
Palmer. Palmer, can you say hi?
Hi, Paul.
So yes, we're expanding our family and need some more space. And we don't want to move. We just love the neighborhood that we're in and our neighbors and community. And so we're expanding the living area. And then we're hoping to build a deck. And then underneath that, do some storage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was looking at your sections. So you're gonna have storage underneath the deck,
Yes, that's correct.
and it's below ground? I mean,
So we do have to go a little bit below, is that correct?
you may come, yes.
She's the brains.
Unfortunately, you have to give us your name and address, too.
Melody Liu, and address is 6612 East 122nd Street, Grandview, Missouri.
Okay, all right.
So basically, we're growing the basement and going a little lower than what it is currently to make it a higher area for storage right below the deck. So it will be below ground, but part of the foundation will be exposed.
Okay, all right. So the additional living area, I was trying to, okay, I see, all right. So this is an exception because it's less than,
Less than 20%.
less than 20%,
yes,
right?
correct.
Okay, all right. And are there questions for the applicant? Any questions?
No.
Okay. In that case, thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application?
Bye, Palmer.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in case 27-2023, 12649 Overbrook Road, request for an exception to the maximum allowable square footage on a lot in accordance with the LDO Section 16-3-5.3F, 2 in R1 district. I move approval.
I will second that, and just for the record, it's 16-2-5.3. You said 3, Mel, I'm sorry. Just want to make sure it's clear.
Okay, all right. Okay, we have a motion for approval in case 27-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. The next case this evening is for case 28-2023. John and Kathy Teifel, owners. This is a request for a fence height exception in accordance with LDO Section 16-4-9.4 in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 15424 Iron Horse Circle. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicants are rebuilding and expanding an aging deck. The new deck will have a hot tub on it that is 37.5 inches tall. Therefore, an exception for a 6-foot-tall privacy fence on the north side is requested.
Okay.
And those, on your screen, you'll see the two areas marked in red. Those are the only two areas that the exception would apply to. So it's, that side of the deck faces the neighbors.
Yeah.
And every time, the neighbor has some kind of a motion-activated alarm, and when they walk by, it actually announces that you are being watched. So, and now they want to put a hot tub there, so.
Oh, my goodness.
They can probably give you more information than I can about that.
Okay, so you do have a plan view, right? You can show us?
Yeah.
So it's really just for the area around the hot tub?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Please give us your name and address.
John and Kathy Teifel, 15424 Iron Horse Circle. As Wade had mentioned, we're rebuilding the existing deck, and we are adding a hot tub on top of the deck. And where we want the fence height exception is just for the north side, which just affects our north neighbor. So that fence would just be facing them, and it is a sidecar garage. And I had also given them a side view of their house, so if you wanted to review that, just have a feel. So it's just for about 24 feet of the two walls that Wade showed you in the diagram.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the hot tub being 37.5 inches, you know, a little over 3 feet, we'd like to have a little bit more privacy. It's behind our garage and right on our side of our kitchen. So it'll help with the privacy of the driveway as well from the north side, so.
Okay. I see. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case 28-2023, 15424 Iron Horse Circle, request for a fence height exception in accordance with the LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R-1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 28-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. The next case this evening is case 29-2023, Bruce Doctor, owner. This is a request for an exception to the front build line for the placement of a covered entryway in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 8417 Inslee Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicant is wanting to add a covered entryway to the front of the home. An exception for 1.5 feet is needed to construct the addition as shown on the plan.
Are there questions for staff? Is the applicant here? You may give us your name and present your case.
Hello, Bruce Doctor, 8417 Ensley Lane, Leawood, Kansas. We are doing a full renovation on this house, and we're wanting to put a front porch on, which would encroach 18 inches by 10 feet. It's a total of 15 square feet. That would be what we're asking for an exception to, just to give us a little bit more girth on the front of the house. It's a 1962 ranch that needs a little bit of pizzazz. And so it's the 18 inches is what we were looking for.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone here wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, in case 29-2023, 8417 Ensley Lane, a request for an exception to the front build line for the placement of a covered entryway in accordance with the LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district. Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 29-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. Thank you. The next case for this evening is case 30-2023. This is Brett Hunley, owner, request for an exception to the front build line for the placement of a covered entryway in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 8905 Mohawk Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
The property owner would like to add a covered entryway to the front of the home. An exception for 3 feet is requested to construct the addition as shown on the plan.
This is new construction?
It's an existing home.
Please give us your name and
You bet.
address, sir.
Sorry, sir. Chris Kaler, 8016 West 147th Street, Overland Park, Kansas, 66223.
Okay, go ahead.
It's an older home, and we're doing a total renovation on the inside and exterior. So we felt there's several new homes on that block, if you're familiar with that street right there. And so to enhance that front, we went through several drawings so that we needed to make that entryway a little bit more prominent.
Okay. All right.
And just to know, we did go through the building codes department. We did get a building approval on all the other requirements that we have through the city, and then we did go through the HOA process and had no objections to that.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you. Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, in case 30-2023, 8905 Mohawk Lane, request for an exception to the front build line for the placement of a covered entryway in accordance with the LDO, section 16-2-5.3D in our R1 district. I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 30-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll officially be notified in writing by the city. Welcome.
Oh, my goodness.
The next case, this must be covered entryway night. Next case is 31-2023. Chris and Courtney Craig, owner, request for an exception to the front build line for the placement of a covered entryway in accordance with LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 9401 Manor Road. Does staff have a report, please?
The owners would like to add a covered entryway to the front of the home. An exception for 4 feet is required to construct the project as shown on the plan.
Are there questions for staff? Everything,
Not a question, but an observation. I wish that the city would have more authority to take care of these things so that the applicants wouldn't have to come and present a case.
I agree 100%.
talk to your councilman. Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Please give us your name and address.
Courtney Craig, 9401 Manor Road.
Okay.
I'm Jim Andrews, 2519 West 84th Street.
Okay. All right.
I'm a contractor.
Present your case.
Well, basically, we're going to do a second floor addition on their house, and we're remodeling half of the downstairs. We remodeled part of it about 3-4 years ago. And this is just, if you can see the drawing, we have a front portico now, and it just adds, Wes Wilson drew the drawings, and it adds more character to the front of the house.
Okay. So it meets the exception requirements, and
Yes, sir.
so very standard.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case 31-2023, 9401 Manor Road. Request for an exception to the front build line for the placement of a covered entryway in accordance with the LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 31-2023, and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing to the city. We have a case 32 dash, there's a mistake. It says 2923, so we'll correct that. Case 32-2023, Alexandra Kurth, garden owner. This is a request for a fence height exception in accordance with LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 9441 Meadow Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
Actually, before I give the report, Ms. Kurth, are you online?
I am.
Okay. The applicant would like to complete the enclosure of the rear yard with a 6-foot-tall privacy fence. The home to the east that shares a property line has an existing 6-foot-tall fence.
Okay.
So the portions marked in pink are the portions that would be constructed.
Okay.
Where's the neighbor's 6-foot fence?
Directly behind.
Oh, okay. So that line at the bottom that they're joining up to is the neighbor's 6-foot fence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Is the app, any questions for staff?
Nope.
So is the applicant online?
Zooming, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So,
Sorry we couldn't be there. We had a vacation planned this week. My name's Alexandra Kurth Garden. Address is 9441 Meadow Lane, Leawood, Kansas 66206. And we're asking for an exception because we live right on 95th Street. And we have a 2-year-old and then expecting a new baby in July. And so we just think it would look nice to have the 6-foot fence for privacy on 95th Street and backing up against the already existing 6-foot fence. And then on the other side, there's a chain link fence, but it's a new build and they've given us permission to pull that out when we put the 6-foot fence in to connect to the back.
okay. All right. Are there questions for the applicant? Okay, very good, thank you. Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? In that case, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of case 32-2023, 9441 Meadow Lane, request for a fence height exception in accordance with the LDO section 16-4-9.4 in an R1 district.
Second.
We have a motion for approval in case 32-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. The next case we have is case 33-2023. Jeff and Leslie Breedlove, owners. This is a request for a variance to the build line for the placement of a fence on a corner lot in accordance with LDO section 16-4-9.3A in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 12019 Inslee Lane. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicants want to replace an aging 4-foot tall picket fence that has been in place for over 30 years. At its closest point, the fence is 4 feet from the property line. A variance for 24 feet is needed to place the new fence in the same location. Your staff report says 31 feet, but the house is placed at the 30-foot build line, so there is a correction to
So it is
24 feet.
It is 24 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
And on your screen, you can see the picture of the existing fence.
Wait, I'm sorry, you said 24 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But just so we're clear, Wade, that's not 24 feet to move the location of the fence. That's just because the old fence was there without whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I presume that the fence is, there's plenty of landscaping that's been built kind of around this fence, which would typically be the case, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're looking at the fence along 121st Street, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Any other question for staff? I presume
Hi, I'm
you're,
Jeff Breedlove, 12019 Ensley Lane, Leawood, Kansas, 66209. Yeah, we just want to replace the fence. We've been there 20 years. It was there when we moved in. It was already existing, and we've been repairing it slowly, and now it's time for a complete rebuild. So we just want to build it on the exact same line that it currently is. And you can see from the picture, there are some legacy shrubs from our neighbors they would sort of lose, and we have a patio and lots of landscaping inside that a setback would have to force us to redo all of that. So we just would like to replace the current fence on the exact same line with another fence. Same size,
Will
same
this be a
cedar.
picket fence like the one that is shown?
I'm sorry?
Would these be similar to the?
Yeah, it's gonna be a cedar fence, 4 foot tall, same as it is now, just not white.
Okay, all right. All right,
Thank
And
you
at one
very-
time, the house directly east did have a fence in the same location. It has since been removed, but you can see where the bushes are, and that's where the fence was.
okay. All right. Other questions for the applicant? This is a variance. And so for a variance, we have to go, there are 5 factors we have to evaluate. And we have to vote on each of the factors, and we have to vote in the affirmative to support a motion for approval.
Okay.
So the ones we sometimes have trouble with are uniqueness and hardship. Could you address those quickly?
Uniqueness or hardship?
Yeah.
Well, the hardship would be they're having to redo landscaping that's been there for 20-some-odd years, probably, when you set the fence back an additional 13 feet. And it would actually nearly abut a concrete patio that has already been there for nearly 15 years.
And I guess hardship would be the same. You could
Sounds
make
like
the
it.
same argument, right?
Right, yeah, I'm sure.
Other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? The cards went out, right? Everyone was notified?
Yeah, all letters were mailed, and no calls or complaints have been received whatsoever.
Okay. In that case, what we need to do is we have to go through the 5 factors and vote, and then if we vote in the affirmative on all of them, then we can support a motion for approval. So the first is uniqueness of the property.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think the applicant stated it pretty accurately. They didn't place the fence where it was originally. You basically got a home and the landscaping and everything else that's been built up for 30 years, with this being the fence location. I think that qualifies for the uniqueness category.
Any other questions or comments? All those who feel that the uniqueness criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The second factor is rights of adjacent property owners. All the cards were mailed, right, letters. Any comments?
0.
0. In lieu of that, all those who feel that the second factor, rights of adjacent property owners, has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have voted in the affirmative on the second factor. And third is hardship.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think given the description that we've heard, we would be significantly impairing the homeowner's ability to, for normal expected use of the property if we were to do this. So I think it's met the hardship criteria.
Other comments? All those who feel that the hardship criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We felt that the third factor has been met. The fourth is public safety and general welfare.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think the, granting the variance would affect public safety or general welfare.
Any other comments about the fourth factor? All those who feel that the public safety and general welfare criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have voted in the affirmative on the fourth factor, and the last is spirit and intent.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would have to think the spirit and intent of the Leawood ordinances is to keep the neighborhoods nice looking, and replacing an old fence with a new one seems to be within that spirit and intent.
And they're going to be replacing it with a cedar type fence rather than a white fence like they have.
Absolutely.
All those who feel that the fifth factor, spirit and intent criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have evaluated all 5 factors in the affirmative, therefore we can support a motion for approval in this case. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case 33-2023-12019 Inslee Lane, request for a variance to the build line for the placement of a fence on a corner lot in accordance with the LDO, Section 16-4-9.3 AO? I don't know what that is.
I think it's supposed to mean just A.
A, in an R1 district.
We have a
Second.
motion, we have a motion for approval in case 33-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. You're welcome. The last case this evening, we do had a case that's been continued, but the last case is 34-2023. Daniel Dumovic, owner, this is a request for a variance to the rear build line for the placement of a deck in accordance with LDO Section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district for a property commonly known as 12719 Sagamore Road. Does staff have a report, please?
The applicants need to replace an aging deck that encroaches the rear setback. A variance for 4 feet is requested to place the deck in its current location.
So there was no approval of the previous deck?
Correct, yeah. I have a copy of the original building permit, and more than likely, the deck was built with the home because a deck permit has never been issued for this residence.
I see. This is basically reconstruction of the deck?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there questions for staff?
Wade, under uniqueness, it says the applicant cites because the deck was placed 21 feet from the rear property line as making it unique. And then it says when the home was constructed, it was placed 30 feet from the rear property line. I'm a little confused.
The home was placed, it should say the home was placed 30 feet,
okay.
right at the 30-foot build line.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, okay, I see. Are there other questions for staff? Is the applicant here? Please give us your name and address.
Yes, Dan Dumovich, 12719 Sagamore Road, Leewood.
You may present your case.
Okay, yeah, we bought the house in January, and I think it was built in the late 70s, and the deck is, well, it definitely wouldn't meet code today, you know, doesn't have piers, and it was just built. It kind of looks nice from a distance, but you know, it needs replaced. It's very old, and we were just going to build it exactly the same height, the same everything, same distance, and use composite instead of, you know, we were going to build a nice deck. Basically, we've been making several improvements, so. Just gonna build it the exact same as it was, only using all new material and better material and.
And I would like to add, that since he's rebuilding the entire deck, it would be up to code, so it would have piers, he'd have to get a permit. So it would have to meet all the other criteria, just the variance for the placement.
Right.
Right.
So on the rear setback would have normally been 30 feet.
25.
right?
On the rear, setback from the property line?
I mean, the requirement would have been 30 feet, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
But they do allow a deck to stick into the rear setback 5 feet, so.
Right. Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah, and I was told I contacted, I can't remember the guy's name, but he said it's 25 foot, and he looked at ours and said it was 21 from the existing back property line. And I
Okay.
measured it too, and that's about what it is.
So a 4-foot variance is what you're
Right, just-
asking for, yeah.
The 4 feet, yeah, which is already where the deck is, so.
Okay.
So not to jump too far ahead, but what makes this unique in your mind is that the house is already built to the edge of the build line, so, and the deck was already there, you're just replacing
Right.
it, and this
And the
would,
landscape, like just the previous case, there's, I don't know if there's pictures of it, but I sent some pictures of it's got evergreen bushes, like the taller evergreens completely surrounding the deck, like you can't,
well, you've built your home and your property around this location, and to not be able to do that now, you would have to change things drastically.
I would have to, get a whole new plan somehow, because it wouldn't be
Right.
really, it wouldn't be worth building it the way, if I'd have to go a different direction and tear a bunch of the landscaping out, so,
Thank you, I just wanted to clarify that while you're standing there.
yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions for the applicant? Well, this is a variance, so in the previous case, we talked about the uniqueness and hardship. I mean, you did mention the vegetation you have that would be, and the fact that it's been there for, this house was built when, you said
1978.
So it's been there a few years.
Yes.
All right. Other
Yes,
questions?
we've already done quite a bit of work to it, being that it's an older house and it needs a lot of work to it, so.
Oh, sure.
But
sure.
it's getting there.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? I trust letters went out.
Yes,
Were
sir.
Are there comments?
No calls or complaints.
Okay. In that case, we have to go through the 5 factors like we did previously. The first factor is uniqueness.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it seems to me that this is really similar to the last one, where the uniqueness is in the fact that this house and everything, all the property has been constructed around this configuration, not at the doing of the applicant, and to be able to continue that way, they're going to have to replace it where it is. So I think it's been met.
Other comments? All those who feel that the uniqueness criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have voted in the affirmative on the first factor. Right to adjacent property owners is the second factor.
I can't imagine how constructing a new deck in a location of an old deck is going to adversely affect their rights.
Other comments?
Well, the city has received no complaints or calls, so that takes care of that factor.
In light of that, all those who feel that the second factor, rights of adjacent property owners, has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We felt as a board that the second factor's been met. Third is hardship.
Well, Mr. Chairman, for a lot of the reasons that I cited for uniqueness, I think it would be a significant hardship to not allow them to put the deck here. They'd either have to relocate it or reconstruct the property to do that. And I think that's a hardship we should not burden them with.
Other comments? All those who feel that the hardship criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have felt the hardship factor's been met, and the fourth is public safety and general welfare.
Well, the requirements for the city for safety will have to be met and adhered to, so we're providing a much safer deck for the occupant and their guests.
Other comments? All those who feel the public safety and general welfare criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have felt the fourth factor has been met, and the fifth factor is spirit and intent.
Mr. Chairman, the staff report notes that the intent of the ordinance is to protect privacy of neighboring homes. I would note, I think I read in here that there is no neighbor to the back side of this house. It's the golf course. So I think the open space back there provides a good buffer for this particular aspect.
Okay. All those who feel that the spirit and intent criterion has been satisfied, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. We have voted in the affirmative on all 5 factors, therefore we can support a motion for approval in this case.
Mr. Chairman, in case 34 of 2023, 12719 Sagamore Road, request for a variance to the rear setback in accordance with the LDO section 16-2-5.3D in an R1 district. I move approval.
Second.
We have approval for, a motion for approval in case 34-2023 and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. You'll be officially notified in writing by the city. As I indicated before, our last case has been continued, presumably to the next meeting. So is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved. I'd like to thank Wade for probably the easiest agenda I've ever had to be part of.
It was long, but it wasn't hard.
It was easy.
We stand adjourned.
We have never been through so many